So, hello. My name is Nicole. I was invited here by Jason, Theory is over there, but I also know Metal, and I'm dating Tolly. So, who am I? I mostly work outside of tech stuff. I draw cartoons. I do storyboarding for film and TV. One of the things that I think is most important to explain about storyboarding is that you really have to have a very thorough way of thinking, because you're doing acting, you're doing camera moves, you're doing whatever is in the background, you're doing what a character is going to interact with, and on top of that you might be doing lighting, and then you have to be doing whatever joke you're trying to tell, or whatever's in the script. So in order to thread all that together successfully and do rough cuts of episodes or films or whatever, I have to be able to think really, really thoroughly about what's this character, what's the world that they're in, how does that interact, what does that mean? And I translate that into settings. So I make little dioramas or terrariums for fun. This first one over here is a little papercraft one that I made for Tolly's Defend the Cake. Yeah, it's mostly the way I went about creating this one was the cake is supposed to be something that's defended, so the cover that's on top of it, which is like a little dessert cover, is surrounded by foliage, so that's kind of like hiding it. So that's like the tiny bit of story that goes into that. There's other stuff that I do, or that I've made, that just looks very pretty, like the one top right, that's like a forest, but you can go with a lot of basic forest elements. So like you got wood, you got like fake trees going on. Also, I brought that one, so it's back there if you guys want to take a look. And a lot of natural river rock and pebbles, but you can add something a little bit more magical to it when you do something that's more geometric, because that's really uncommon in nature. So I added the ring right in the middle of it, which makes it kind of like magical in some way and interesting. And then you also can put together scenes that are a bit more story driven, like the one down there at the bottom. It's white sand, so desert. Interesting cool stick shape, rock, and then there's a small skeleton in there. So I bought a mole skull and I hid it along with some vertebrae and some ribs, because like the idea would be, in this little scene, this is a slice of desert that this mole just couldn't survive, and even when it was protected by shade, it still died. I actually like adding skulls to a lot of stuff. And again, like in this one, this is like a slice of kind of a magical forest. The thing that makes it quote-unquote magical is you have a lot of like round sphere objects that just don't occur naturally, but in here they're placed as if they do, because they're alongside a bunch of other natural objects like the moss on the bottom, which is living moss, and then sticks with a lot of other moss that grows on top of it. And so it gives you like an idea of like, oh, this forest might be cool, magical, but also a little bit dangerous because something died here. I also brought that one on the end, so it's back there if you guys want to take a look. I bought a bird's nest and I bought some moss, and it looks really cool when you put it together, but if you add the skull to it, then you've got a narrative going on. What's going on here? How big is this bird? How big am I compared How big am I compared to this bird? Is this bird very carnivorous? Does this bird feed regularly? Is the bird nearby? Like, you've got a lot going on just by adding one small detail. So I also made another terrarium because I hung out with Metal long enough, with his 3D printers long enough, with Tolly making things long enough, that I was like, hey, let's take the terrariums to the next level. Also, I think Horizon Zero Dawn came out, and that was also a pretty big influencer. So I really love Red Rock and how Red Rock is, it always feels designed, because there's a lot of very large specific shapes that are also not the same size, but they all follow a certain pattern, and the pattern is usually water or wind. And so I designed in Maya this landscape. So there's a lot of thinking about what designs, like how things go for each rock. Of course, also I picked Red Rock because when you 3D print, you get a lot of striations and layers, and that fits in with Red Rock really well. So you get, I don't have a way to point, do I? With a mouse, maybe? Oh my God, it's here. Oh, I was on the wrong spot. Okay, so like we can have just, again, thinking patterns about what's up with this landscape and story, and how does this world, this little tiny mini world landscape slice that I'm making fit together. So these are all going in one direction because this tends to be how water and wind goes. Maybe it made a little cavern in here, and like maybe something is currently living in there. Things move around here where this is level almost with the ground, so beneath it, it will tend to be a little bit thinner because that's where some water has run and worn away a lot of stuff. And you also get like maybe certain sections and deposits of it were just weaker than others, so it got washed away more, and you have a lot of cool, interesting arches that go on. But the big thing about these guys is they always have to line up. And once you print them out, you can arrange them whatever way you want. And then of course you have to figure out your print based on what kind of arch you got going on, because that does not print well with that in the same print. And also you can't hide your geometry errors in Maya because things like that happen. Right there. So I painted it and then I rearranged it, and I'm considering still doing more stuff with it, but I've also made a lot of terrariums, so I'm running out of space in my house. And yeah, I added sand to it, and it's its own little thing. So,
and it's over here, you can look at it.
yeah, and it's over here, and you can look at it. It's all just sitting on a stool in a stack over there. Yeah, and I picked the stuff that would be most resistant to like handling or tipping, so you guys shouldn't have to worry too much about messing whatever's in there up. That's all. Yes.
So when you made this piece, I'm struck by how sort of real it looks like. It looks like shapes that I would expect to see in a landscape. Were you working from references, or what was your process of just designing that?
I've exposed myself and looked at enough Red Rock reference that I just had a lot of shapes internalized. So like there was a lot of structures that I wanted to be able to recreate in this sort of thing. So like I really love the arches that Red Rock makes, just because one area got weaker over another and the water ended up pooling, and then it ended up just taking more and more away. I really love the idea of caves and stuff living in it, because there's been a lot of very cool photos of Red Rock just what it looks like on the inside, because you never know how water goes. There was quite a few shapes that I picked just from looking at some reference images, and also like on drives, because I think we went to Utah around the time I did this too, and you know they got Zion Park and super nice. Yes.
Are you like some kind of landscape-based modern tool using Joseph Cornell?
I don't think so.
Also, have you thought about, because what you have here is like really beautiful landscapes, and I'm really curious if you thought about printing it in ABS and then running little rivers of watered down acetone that'll wear them down over time, so then you get change over time.
That sounds like it takes up a lot of space.
Not necessarily. I mean, you
Yeah?
can definitely stick a pump in there and like, you know,
Yeah?
I would worry more about potential chemical volatility than taking up space.
If you're going to worry about
It'll
something,
smell funny.
Yeah, it'll smell a little bit.
don't inhale the fumes.
Just like, make sure you vent it, and then
Yeah, but that would be-
that's safety.
Yeah, that would be a really cool way to study a lot of natural wear and tear, or like
Yeah,
how
you
rocks
get,
go.
You know, generalized effect of change over time, which might pair really well with the beautiful landscapes.
Yeah,
Or print it out of sugar and use water.
that's also another idea, but I don't know how to.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah, just get like some solid sugar.
I got one more
Well,
question.
on that
Yeah.
same point, do you, when you're imagining say the cave,
Yep.
do you actually think about it as like, okay, it started, you visualize it as it had a lot more, and then the river comes through, and you have an understanding, you have like an expert understanding of how the dynamics of the water, or do you start with the cave and then kind of make the narrative afterwards?
So I usually start with a cool thing that I want to happen, and then I have to start applying what I know about how the water works, the wind works, and how it affects like the surrounding area, because there's a lot more rock in all the photos you see than what you can see. It's just below all the sand. So that's why everything always goes in the same direction, is because it's all connected.
And so when you see that, do you see it kind of like a slow motion? Is it a gift to you? Is there like movement in that when you see it?
I don't really see movement in it, but I can see, like, when I'm arranging stuff, I can see what's below it, because like how this rock connects directly to this rock, below that, they're still connected. And how this rock connects to this rock and this one, they're all connected in a line. It's just that parts of it wore away faster than the others. Yeah.